Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The concern about proper governance in public sector entities was at the forefront of a meeting between the leader of the opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips, the National Integrity Action, the umbrella group of churches, and various private sector groups, which was held yesterday. This comes against the backdrop of alleged mismanagement of funds and cronyism at the state-owned oil refinery, Petrojam. At the meeting, the groups presented 5 points which they believe will lead to better governance.
Leadership in both parties need to assert themselves against those who may not be seeing eye to eye, and on all parties, society, civil society bodies and private sector need to be far more assertive in upholding the public interest and in standing up for the national interest.
Dr. Phillips says his party supports action plans which have been put forth by civil society and the private sector. He, however, reiterated the need for the strengthening of a number of bodies which will be better able to hold public sector companies to a higher standard.
The strengthening of the Public Service Commission, extending its role and responsibilities to include some oversight of the parastatals is one area to be considered. Ways of strengthening the FAA Act is also another important area, and ways of changing the composition of some of the boards to include, as a matter of right, independent representatives from the general public who are competent and qualified in this area. Again, there would be a role for the Public Service Commission in this regard.
The attendees say the meeting was successful and the leader of the opposition has promised that the People's National Party would add its perspective to the points to develop a national agenda. Additional charges were laid against Attorney-at-Law Jennifer Masado yesterday by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, CTOC. She's been charged with forgery and obtaining money under false pretense. In June 2017, Mrs. Masado prepared an agreement for the sale of her property without the knowledge and consent of the owners. So far, she's been charged with 2 counts of forgery, 2 counts of uttering forged documents, conspiracy to defraud, causing money to be paid out by forged documents, and money laundering. It's alleged that Mrs. Masado forged the signature of the mortgager to facilitate the fictitious transaction and collected $150,000 as down payment for the prospective purchaser. She is scheduled to appear before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on September 11th. Councillor for the Ipswich Division in St. Elizabeth, Mugabe, Kilimanjaro, is calling for an explanation into the delay in the completion of rehabilitation roadwork on the Magoti to Ellerslie Main Road. According to Councillor Kilimanjaro, the work, which was started last year, is now more than 6 months over, as it was scheduled to be completed in December 2017. To date, he said a new completion date has not been announced. The Ipswich councillor said there's an urgent need for the work to be completed, as it's needed to facilitate quicker movement of tourists travelling to Appleton Estate and for the movement of canes from Trelawney to St. Elizabeth. Councillor Kilimanjaro added that several persons who were employed on the project are yet to receive payment for work done, and as such he is calling on the relevant agency to immediately address the problem. However, when contacted, the National Works Agency stated that they're not responsible for carrying out the works. An additional $20 million is to be allocated by the government for drought alleviation across the island. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the funds will be released this week. The money will be dispersed to 10 municipal corporations to increase the trucking of water. The allocation is in addition to the recent disbursement of $35 million for drought alleviation. Mr. McKenzie says the government is constantly monitoring the situation and will respond with additional measures as the situation warrants. The Met Office has said there will be higher than normal temperatures with below normal rainfall during the July to September period. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett officially met with the Tourism Working Group yesterday. They discussed the impact of the Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, between the European Union and the African, Caribbean and Pacific group of countries. On local tourism suppliers, the Tourism Working Group was set up to review a range of issues within the sector, including the EPA, work permits, ground transportation and entertainment, among other things. Mr. Bartlett said the working group is committed to looking at core issues that have arisen in the sector with a view to resolving all of the issues. The meeting was an introductory review of the EPA agreement, which the group will be focusing on. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade was also present at the meeting. Mr. Bartlett reiterated that the main aim of the activity is to ensure that all local suppliers are given equal opportunity within the sector to benefit from the tremendous economic growth in tourism. The working group will therefore review all areas that impact our local tourism suppliers' capacity to deliver in an increasingly competitive and growing sector, as well as equal opportunities for them to adequately compete. Over the next few weeks, the group will meet to work on various issues including entertainment, training and certification, the issuing of work permits, craft vendors, ground transportation and information for the tourism demand study. A proposal on the way forward will also be presented by September. There's a call this afternoon for changes to the legislation governing the workplace. The Jamaica Employers Federation, JEF, is urging the government to modernize the Labour Relations and Dispute Act, as well as the Industrial Tribunal Act. According to JEF President David Wan, the two, along with the Labour Relation Code, all need updating, as he believes they are outdated and are having a negative impact in the workplace.
And it impacts investment in the country, as well as the willingness of even domestic employers to invest and keep doing business in Jamaica. To ask the government to act with some urgency on this matter, as it is becoming a significant issue in the workplace.
Residents of Allman Town and surrounding communities in Kingston have spoken out strongly against aspects of the proposed redevelopment of the National Heroes Park. They voiced strong objections and opinions last night during the RGR Gleaner Communications Group Town Hall meeting held at the Wolmer's Boys Auditorium last night. More in this report.
Facing the brunt of the fire was General Manager of the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, Dr. Damien Graham. He had to respond to multiple questions about the details of the plans for the area and the fears of residents about their potential displacement. Residents spoke strongly about a lack of information on the project, particularly about whether they will be relocated and how they will be compensated. They expressed concern about land ownership and how compensation will be determined, and warned of possible public disruption if things are not done smoothly and to their satisfaction. One resident, who identified herself as Tina, welcomed the development but said there was a shortage of information, which is causing unease.
It's causing the people to be at a setback. Persons cannot plan. Personal development is at halt, and I'm therefore asking the UDC to communicate, start the communication now with the community. We need the communication to start now, not after, as you put it, the big heads put together a plan and come to us and say this is what we're going to do. We're not going to accept it. I realize that this government have this do as you please mentality and this bullyism, but people from Allman Town, the generations and generations of persons from Allman Town will not tolerate it, and we will stand up against it.
She also warned that residents were completely against relocation and would challenge any displacement.
And if the government believe that we are going to sit back and allow them to come in and relocate us and displace us from our families, it is not going to happen. We stand firm with development because we believe in it. We want to live like persons are living in Cherry Gardens and Norbrook. but we do not want to be displaced. And Mr. Holness, I'm warning you, we're gonna be out here. I'm warning you, I'm warning you.
In the meantime, General Manager of the UDC, Dr. Damien Graham, responded to several of the major concerns of those present at the town hall meeting. He explained that an assessment process would first have to be done before any firm decision is made on any relocation. Dr. Graham acknowledged the concerns but explained that many of them were policy issues to be handled by the government. He made a commitment to share the multiple concerns which were raised with the relevant ministries. Meanwhile, Dr. Graham says they are still in the consultation phase.
The consultation that was mentioned before, a design competition was communicated in 2010. The consultation happened between 2010 and 2014 before the project took place. To address the concern that the gentleman raised about what is going to be done with the money that was allocated, some of it was spent on the fencing and addressing some of the aesthetics right now. But the other allocation is being contemplated to be rolled into the overall project to enhance it and to ensure that with the consultations that will take place, there's further refinement, because we don't just believe in doing one element of it, which is what that earlier allocation said to do.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at injuries during the summer.
Supervision, extra vigilance needs to be exercised. We can't necessarily leave the grandparents to look after the kids. Very often the grandparents have chronic non-communicable diseases, they have mobility issues, so the supervision, the physical supervision might not be possible. So it's really important that parents and guardians take full responsibility and know where their children are at all times.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. Check to make sure that the surfaces on the playground equipment are safe, soft and well maintained. Teach kids to swim. Formal swimming lessons can protect young children from drowning. And supervise young children at all times.
And now in sports, it's now or never. That's the sentiment of trainer Carl Grant, who is preparing Jamaica's Richard Frog Holmes to take on Mexican-born Canadian Ricardo Salas in tonight's final of the Royal Navy Contender Series for the welterweight title at the National Indoor Sports Centre.
3 fights each for Jamaica's Richard Frog Holmes and Canada's Ricardo Magic Man Salas, spread across 3 months, have brought the fighters to Wednesday's 10-round contest for the right to be called the 2018 Contender Series champion. Holmes and Salas, who both weighed in at 146 pounds on Tuesday, have 2 million reasons to display their best boxing skills inside the National Indoor Sports Centre. Recognized as the most consistent Jamaican boxer in the 8-year history of the Contender Series, the 31-year-old Frog Holmes, now contesting his third final, is hungry for victory after defeats to Kemal Hitman Russell in 2015 for the middleweight title, and then the world-rated American DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley in 2016 for the welterweight belt. Salas, who scored 3 knockouts en route to the final, including that of 2013 champion Devon Concrete Moncrief in the semi-final, will start as favourite. However, Holmes says he has assessed all of Salas' fights and knows what he needs to do.
It's a championship fight. No one want to go in a fight and lay themselves careless. You know, you have to approach the fight with caution, and regardless whatever he have to throw at me, I can withstand anything come at me. You know, just hope that he can withstand what I have to throw at him.
The Magic Man Salas, who is determined to become the first Canadian and only the second boxer from North America to win the Contender Series, is ready for Holmes. He spoke through interpreter Gloria Munoz.
Hacer mi trabajo y prácticamente voy a subir a hacer mi trabajo nada más.
Yes, he's aware of the different tactics and he is going to work for it and make it work.
Llegar a dar el knockout yo creo que sería por el round cuarto o quinto.
He thinks in the 4th or 5th round.
Holmes' trainer Carl Grant says this will be the easiest of the 3 finals contested by his charge.
Jamaica, just come out tomorrow, come say Richard Holmes at his best. Because we're going to go there. The preparation Richard Holmes put in for Chop Chop Coley is nothing comparing to the one that is right now. So, Salas, Ricardo, whatever you want to name, in a trouble. Because we're going to take it. Because Richard here this year, and there's nothing going to stop him from putting the championship up in the air.
Holmes' ring record stands at 18 wins, 8 by knockout and 8 defeats, while Salas has secured 10 wins, including 9 knockouts and a loss in his 11 professional fights. The final will be preceded by 2 fights on the undercard. Two-time contender champion Sakima Mr. Smooth Mullings will face 36-year-old Mexican Alejandro Herrera Avalos in a non-title junior middleweight fight over 6 rounds, while veteran Ricardo Planter and Nico Yeo will battle in a 6-round middleweight contest. TVJ will have live coverage starting at 9:30 p.m.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.